Many of you have been asking where Douglas is. Well, he's been very, very busy. He's getting ready for a couple of conferences and has got to finish up writing all of his books and stuff. So he's been very busy, and plus we had guests in town. It's just been crazy. And right now, if you hear a slight echo in the recording and the splashing of water, it's because he's in the tub. I've nabbed him, and I've got the recorder on.
Well, as I'm sure all of you know, the Greeks believed that the republic that they designed, the ideal republic, which is what we're really based upon, was actually impossible for them to do, even though they had the philosophers, and we don't, to be able to carry it through. They had a democracy, didn't they? And democracy was they all got together in the agora and they shouted whose opinion they supported. So there'd be speeches and then they'd shout, and that's how the government was ran. Well, now it isn't the majority that wins through our supposed democracy, which we do not have a democracy, and we never started a republic. It was overthrown before it could even get started. And so Benjamin Franklin, he said, can you keep it? No, we never had it. Sorry, Ben, but it has been overthrown. And the senior executive service, the crown agents, the complete British control of our patent office, the British control of the transnationalists in DARPA, in all of these agencies, in QTEL, all of them serve the moneyed interests. They do not serve a republic where we represent people. And by the way, no one in DC, as I can tell, represents anybody but themselves and their own moneyed aggrandizement. So we don't have a republic, okay? Now, how did this happen? Well, first off, we were hoodwinked by the Brits. Second off, we now have people like Peter Thiel and previously Eric Schmidt convincing the presidents who do have a tremendous power. Matter of fact, they shouldn't have the power of clemency. They shouldn't have the power of pardon. It's always been misused in history. And what it was created for was for a political, people who were put in jail because of political opposition. That isn't what's happening. And then you see the auto pen in all of the ways that the Biden administration, that's Obama and Biden together, they threw away the last vestiges that we possibly could have had for free speech or for any of our constitutional rights. It is thrown away by them, and then they worked actively against it. Remember, Obama created these migrants, which are not migrants. In many cases, if they're being accepted for asylum, then they're refugees, aren't they? Otherwise, they can't be accepted for asylum the second they show up on our board. We can't let them in. So most of these people are the refugees and the criminals that have come from the bombed countries and the countries that Obama destroyed for 8 years. And 9 years afterwards, Obama, by the way, I wish to predict this. I predicted it 9 years ago. And 9 years later, I'm still right. It's hard to be right so often. That's the reason I need to take more magnesium, boron, baking soda bathids with my yellow ducky, who's actually my inside intelligence agent. Because he's smarter than most of the people you see that are shills and fronts and literally paid by the SES. I won't go into their names. So even what you think is free speech on the internet through social media and alternative journalists, complete nonsense. Well over half of them are paid by the government to give out the propaganda, which is now legal because of Obama. The National Defense Authorization Act makes it legal for the president to propagandize us, to target us, to attack us if we do not believe the president's, basically his administrative decisions while he's in the office for 4 hours. So in other words, what we've created is just a rolling dictatorship. And we don't have a republic either, because all the voting machines since Jimmy Carter's day, since Mark Malloch Brown, spiked them all with a software called Optech, which is now in its 4th iteration, I believe. And all the distractions of Dominion and Smartmatic winning lawsuits makes you think, if you're not paying attention to what we're telling you in all of our sites, and what Michael McKibben and everyone that we talk with will tell you, you did not have a free vote. So the rigged vote is about that. Now, what has happened? Trump just said no more mail-in ballots. Of course, that was only because of the COVID emergency pandemic that he helped create. Maybe he's a little smarter now. I don't know. But that's why we had mail-in ballots that were so corrupt, without watermarks. That's why we had so many dead people voting, because the rolls couldn't be cleaned off, because there's no connection between the IRS, the Treasury, the FBI, the CIA, nothing. There wasn't. That was on purpose. That was built-in obsolescence, folks. They did that so they could cheat and not get caught. And now, even though Doge has caught them, they're still not being prosecuted for their crimes. Not a single person. Literally, they found hundreds of billions, but I say it's actually trillions, and no one was indicted. No one was prosecuted. No one was given a punishment, because the justice system sold out to the Brits as an aristocracy. It's disgusting. It's the landed gentry. It's the British landed gentry. If you're a judge appointed for life and you don't have to be elected, you do whatever you want, don't you? And now we see that to be true. We barked about this for years, and no one took us seriously, I guess, or they didn't pick up on it. Now Trump just comes down with the heavy-handed note, but he already did this when the fires in California, he'd had too much of the fires in California because they're all started by man-made purposefulness. And then the only money that's really been used has gone to DEI. It's hard to believe, but it's so easy to predict. So Trump said then, no, you have to have paper ballots, no more electronic voting machines, and you have to have proof of citizenship to vote. And of course, that's the reason Gruesome Newsom is going insane attacking Trump. Everyone is attacking Trump the best they can, but they already spent 4 years on it, and he became like a dragon with scales that are adamantine. They are impervious to the attacks. Now notice what he's going after first. He's going after the lawyers who went after him, because they were very vulnerable. All they had to do was follow the money trail. And so they're all going to go down. He's kicked out some of the people, but he hasn't kicked out the principal SES people. That's the reason nothing gets done. If Pam Bondi right now had a letter from Trump, who controls 100% the Attorney General and the Department of Justice, the CIA, every federal agency is controlled by the president. And anyone like Obama, who said that the president has no business sticking his nose into the DOJ or the FBI, is insane. That's a person who never read our Constitution, Bill of Rights, anything. Obama is the antithesis of that, and I hope he gets caught, because he was never a U.S. citizen. So therefore, the only really great news I can give you is that Obama and Biden were frauds. Fraud vitiates all other issues, including the statute of limitation. So and that's the reason that you're seeing that the new evidence that's coming out is called new evidence. And the reason he hired Pam Bondi is she's a paid liar. Kash Patel, he's finding out, as well as Bongino, were actually British agents. They sold out already, and they never really were on our side. That's why we never got a complete report from Kash about what Devin Nunes told him to report on. Or else people would have been indicted, convicted, and hung for treason. Now, we reveal to you, and oftentimes do, what is underneath the black magic marker in these documents, whose names they have covered, because those are the guilty parties. And so they use this all the time. Sources and methods, it's called. Or we're now finding out that they're finally going to wake up and admit that Jeffrey Epstein was an agent of the FBI, the CIA, the DOJ, and the State Department, and that he was one of their top agents for blackmail. But remember, they blackmail people all the time, and then they keep it in a secret vault. That's why James Comey had his brother build the new FBI center so that he could have a vault that was biometrically tuned to him. So, as far as I can tell, since the tenets of the peace treaty of the Paris Peace Treaty after the Revolutionary War was not actually fully ratified because the tenets of it weren't fulfilled, because there were still lands in America the British owned and we didn't even know they owned them and we didn't pay them, so therefore the treaty is not in effect. So Britain has been at war with us continuously, and then they realized, oh, they don't need to be at war with us, they need to milk us dry, as they do to all their dominions and all the countries that are part of the United Kingdom. And so what did they do? They said, well, we'll just set up what we wanted to set up as kind of the dark imperialistic corporatism controlled by the richest people in the world. And that's what they did. They carried over the central banking system to America. And then they taxed every human from the moment they're born till the moment they die. And you can't pay off your debt, by the way, because you are given a piece of the debt at the moment that you're born, and you become basically, you think you're a citizen of the United States. No, you're chattel. And until you and the economy can produce enough money to pay off the onerous debt of $37 trillion to the Fed, we don't have a country, folks.
And can I say here that it may be hard to believe. People tune in and they hear us talking about the British this way. Of course, we know that the British people are as much enslaved in this system as we Americans are. We thought we had left that when we left, at least my ancestors did, to create America. But no, that's not it. And we have to wake up our people. And that is, we are still, America is not free of Britain. We have to break free. When America breaks free from British control, the rest of the world can start breaking free with us.
Anything you do in Britain now, it's the new law, and there's a law in almost all European Union countries, of course, including Canada, and so on and so forth, and I could quote them to you, but it'd be boring. But the point is that they tell you it's for your security, they put new things in place, and pretty soon, if you don't have a digital ID, you won't be able to use the internet. As well, it will be controlled by basically doing analysis of your eye and your face. Now, here's the deal. I can look at your eyes and your face and tell you what illness you have and what you'll probably die by. It's called iridology. Through our Vedic medicine and anthroposophic medicine, I can look at your face and your ears and teeth and pretty much tell you what your level of intelligence is and how far you're going to get along in this life and probably what you'll die from. That's not hard to do. So now, every time you do a retinal scan, they're looking for these little dots in your iris. And where those dots are, those are your organs, because your entire body as a fetus is imprinted into your iris. And so all you have to do is see where the iris is telling you there's a big problem and you can treat it. But no, they won't treat it. Same thing with the human heart. They know before you're born. They have ways to measure the angle of the axis of your heart. And as it's beating, whether it's going to the left, right, forward, backward, up, or down in any irregular way, and from that alone and your heart rate variability, they can predict when you're going to die and from what. So they have watches now they can put on your arm. Now, once this is in place, and you go and you want to do something, and you have to do a retinal scan, thinking no big deal, and then the police come and arrest you, because why? They can predict you're going to die in the next 2 years because of pancreatic cancer. So why would they let you stick around? They've already made a double of you, a digital double of everything you do. And we warned you of this for 10 years, and it's all in our intelligence reports. Every stroke you make, they are mining. Why are they mining it? Do they think you're interesting? Well, as a consumer, they do. But in terms of why they create a digital double for you called the World Sentient Simulation, I believe, but it's now got new names, Total Information Awareness. Now it's called Palantir. And what did you just see the other day? Again, another massive breach with the credit system. Well, in America, your credit score determines whether you can rent a place, get a house, get a car, or do anything economically. Well, that is rolled into Palantir. And then they build these gigantic data centers, like in Texas, which they now show, as I said from the beginning, and Tyler has been harping on this. They don't have the power to do it, they don't have the water to do it, and it poisons the air.
Well, I have to take this segue because you've just painted a very scary scenario about what's going on with the digital stuff. And this is if I can speak anthroposophically, these are the Asuras, the force of the Asuras, stealing the human soul. So then basically all you have are meat sacks walking around. So transhumanism wasn't really us becoming robots. It was the robots coming into the flesh, into our sack. And we have to be totally controlled. But to do that, they have to store their data. And this bothered me from the time I started doing YouTubes. Where are all these YouTubes going? And how long will my YouTubes stay? And will they stay forever? And where are they being stored? Well, now it becomes apparent. They have these big, huge data centers that are being built. And just very cursory, these things take massive amounts of electricity and water. And what's happening right now is citizens are literally being shocked out of their minds at what's happening to the electricity prices. It's more than inflation. What it is that we consumers, we people out here in residential America are supporting the corporations that are stealing the data from us, extracting it, the Asuras extracting our soul force to house in these Ahrimanic facilities. Are you kidding me? This is the end of humanity. And now it becomes very clear to me that what our purpose is, those of you who are listening, and Douglas and I who have been working every single day for I don't know how many years to try and educate and enlighten you about the demise of the physical world and how we must choose to ascend.
Those data centers aren't on the earth. They're below the earth. They're demonic lairs. And what do? Well, they, as we pointed out, and who else is telling you this? Trump has already cited into action that there's going to be 200 small modular nuclear power plants to do nothing but support these data centers, which are creating your evil, dark profile so that they can then learn from that. Now, when I say data mining, they're trying to figure out, it's a psyops. They're trying to figure out how to control you, whether it's by commercialism, how many, they can tell if you look at the naked person over on the side as you're scrolling down Facebook. Have you not noticed that? It is now so interactive, it is ridiculous. Here's the deal. We are full on into the machine wars, and we are losing because there isn't enough intelligence left because they've already depleted it by so many electromagnetic wires, square houses, bad water, bad air. And what do these data centers do? They destroy the very things of life, water and air. Now, if that isn't a nefarious plan, then someone's going to have to explain to me how any of this makes any sense, because most of us don't want that.
Yeah, but here, it's not sustainable because now you add AI and the different versions. I heard that GPT-5, like it takes a city worth of electricity to power this thing. And every country has got to compete to be faster and better in AI, which means bigger data centers, which means trickle down electricity costs are going to skyrocket, and it just won't be your home utility bills. How do you think the grocery store is heated and cooled? Yeah, that's the power grid too. And when does the power grid just go boom, and the only thing left is what is in your head, and because they emptied it, you are nothing.
That's what they want you to be. They want to depopulate, and the easiest way to depopulate is to make you passive. How do they make you passive? Fear, doubt, and hatred. So, do you not doubt everything you hear? So the other day, someone leaned forward to me and poked me and said, "Are you a deep fake?" That's where it's come to, folks. In the future, literally, and this is the reason, all the people involved in the AI, plus also the two new versions of it, general intelligence and special intelligence, they know that this is the end of humanity, but they're making money off of it. But why? If they're telling us this, why would they tell us that, which would hurt their business? Because they are monopolies. Trump just bought into 10% of Intel. Let's remember, most of Intel was made out of this country, and they had back doors built into them. When Trump came to office the first time, he said, no more Chinese chips.
You mean NQTel or Intel?
Intel. Intel the chip,
Okay, okay.
which is in many iterations
Yes,
now.
I just had to clarify.
So that's one of the number one chips, and all this new stuff they're talking about. A lot of those are dreams, and people don't need it because we already have too much. We're already overloaded. So Trump just bought 10% of Intel. That means that the government is going to be controlling the quality of these things. That means the government knows full well that they are preparing to put a chip in everyone's head or arm or somewhere. And if you don't have a chip, you can't get a job because the chip links you to AI, and AI is going to do most of your work. They want to make one person able to do the work of 5 people.
But to do this, it's going to take greater and greater data centers. And here's the thing. The normal people are going to wake up from their slumber, whether they like it or not, when these electricity bills and costs of living go sky high. And this is our point. We can motivate these people to go to the Congress, shake, rattle, roll, make a lot of noise, because we have to stop these data centers. That's the only way they can collect this information, by holding it in these big centers. So if you see that one is coming to your town, do like they did out, I saw in a couple of Nevada places, the citizens went to the board meetings, town board meetings, and shut them down. Like Microsoft that needed all this water for their big data center. They shut them down. Well, the end of the news, the gal says, well, Microsoft will just go to the next town. Well, not if all of us are awake and say, hell no, we are not paying the electricity bills for these companies that want to steal our human souls.
Yeah, and there's other ways. There's numerous ways we can fight this. First off, consciousness, and you don't believe me. I know you don't believe me. It's okay. Let me demonstrate this to you. Most power outages are because of electricity. And most electricity in the cloud, before there's a bolt of electricity, it doesn't have to hit anywhere near the lines or anywhere near a power plant or a booster facility or anything like that. No. It's so powerful. Plasma from the heavens comes down and turns our electricity off on us all the time. It's going to do the same to the data centers. Literally. One large plasmoid will, because of our prayers, and I'm asking it to right now, and I'm asking all of you to please ask the spiritual beings that descend in chariots that look like glowing balls of lightning. That's plasma. That's their vehicles. It's not the beings. Ask the beings, pray that the war against the machines gets stopped now, because it is predicted that it won't be stopped, and 75% of humanity will fall into this demon lair I just told you about. Man-made electromagnetism, first off, pulls you down into hell. It pulls you down into the layers below the earth. When you have data centers like this, so you have the capacities that are now created by digitalization and by the machines, and you just posted something on Gab that was fantastic. Had a whole bunch of people speaking very fast about the horrible things going on right now. And folks, it's even worse than I knew. They have so many things they can't tell you. They don't want you to know. And mind you, these are untested, never been checked on humans especially, I don't know a single longevity test on any of this ever, even vaccines. There's no longevity tests.
Well,
it's episodal, and it's directly related to the event.
People talk all the time about how time just is weird now. Everything's going by so fast. And a theory out there is that's because this is an effect of the electromagnetic frequencies is running through our brains. And before you say anything, I can say that we can use both of our strategies. This can be a top-down, bottom-up strategy. Let's use the people who are being shocked by their electricity bills and the cost of living to rattle the cages in Congress, while we step up way high above and work with the archangels, the archi, to bring a correction to this to Earth.
Man-made electromagnetism is the opposite of space plasma, and 99.99% of space is plasma. So the plasma that comes down here has to be transformed. But when it comes down here and it's being transformed, it looks like angels coming down to help us, folks. And it is. Now, what is it? It's natural electromagnetism that is an effect of the beings that are behind the effects going on of heat differential inside of a plasma ball. Well, that's exactly what plasma fusion containment is about. That's what the new device I just saw, where it lied on Facebook. It says, they now have a device that can shoot out electricity and heal your wounds. Lie. It's a plasma gun. Now, when they make all the robots, let me give you the big secret here, folks. Don't tell the evil people. Get yourself a plasma gun. Any robot that comes after you, shoot it with a plasma gun. It makes a little ball of plasma and hits it and destroys it.
Ooh, where do you buy the plasma balls?
You could buy them
What
online.
guns? Really?
And they're cheap. They're like $100.
Well,
they're in every single science lab.
Will Jeff Bezos bring them, like in 2-day delivery or something?
Yes, he will. Okay. And so that, don't ever aim it at your electronics.
Oh, no, but this is good. We should all
use it unless you need to.
We already know about the other bullets, but maybe another one is these plasma ball guns.
Yes. Now, if the zombie apocalypse comes early, and I say zombie apocalypse, that's the modern term for the war of all against all, where humans are trying to kill humans because of egotism. What are zombies? They don't have egos. What's in them? Demons. What are they trying to do? Bite another human to make them contagious. Isn't that what technology is doing? Isn't every tech person anxious to show you and spend hours with you going inside of the machine to show that they gave out huge parts of their life to this machine to figure it out? Oh, and then the new version comes out and everything they knew is useless.
We're trying to pull an iPad away from a teenager that's been babysat her whole life with an iPad in front of her. I posted a video of that the other day. It's the demons coming out of her.
Take any high school student, parent, and do this for your sake and do it for the love of your children. Go near a pond, and when your talk to your child, and when they answer the dadgum stupid ping on their phone, which is nothing but Ahriman calling them to attention to ignore their parents, take the phone and throw it in the lake. Your child will probably divorce you. And then in a few years, they may come back and say, I do no electrical anything now because you woke me up. It took me 2 to 3 years for me to realize it. I am more than addicted. Okay, if you don't know these things, it shocks you. A normal teenager on their phone reduces their eyesight by 10 years. They increase their likelihood of depression by about 85%, and they increase their likelihood of suicidal ideation by about 30%, and then about 15% of them kill themselves because of their phones and the attacks that are made on them socially on social media.
And it's hopeless because they're probably vaccinated too.
Correct. And their parents thought they were doing something good because everyone in their environment lied to them. But that's what brainwashing is. I'm going to say something really cruel now. So there are some people.
Are you still in the tub? Splash, splash.
I'm in the tub. There are still people who are addicted to shills. And they don't know that it's the subliminal programming that brings them back every single day, no matter what their life depending upon it.
There's smart people outside of that.
You can't stop subliminal programming. Rudolf Steiner said, when he saw his first movies, he said, this is one of the most dangerous things ever created in all of human history, because the person is passive and they give their willpower over to an entertainment that is so convincing because they've been hypnotized through their eyes. They've been pulled in by the story, so their emotions are being sucked in. So literally, you are giving away your eyesight every time you're looking at a movie or anything like that.
Oh, but now the AI will create its own movies for you, and humans won't even be involved in that. So you don't even know what you're looking at anymore.
Yes, I'll make an example of that in a second. And then in your willpower, you are hypnotized. Why? Because I was part of the group that helped determine what would be the frequency that these things would be emitting so that it wouldn't kill humans or cause them to go into seizures and die. Do you realize that if you simply change the refresh frequency of an old TV, everyone in the room would convulse until they died? Does anyone realize how powerful these weapons are? So when we're seeing all this stuff, and we're seeing what's happening in America, and we're talking about whether we have any freedoms, Your freedom is given to you by higher beings who are falling into your electricity, your electromagnetism, the sounds and music you hear carried by digital devices, your television, your screen, LEDs included, your computer, and everything you hear told by other people that are lies. You know that the lies told on television, what do we do with them? We rush to the next person we know and love and tell them the lie. That creates a negative karma for everyone involved that can't be pulled, that can't be stopped. It creates an Ahrimanic, Asuric, elemental being called a scepter, a phantom, or a demon. And if the lie is that powerful and all mainstream media is that powerful and all mainstream media has subliminal programming in it, it's legal in this country and all other countries that I know of. So you have no choice, folks. You're being hypnotized if you are being seduced by these machines. And if you don't know you're being seduced, that's too bad, because you got seduced when you first got made familiar with it. And it seduced you, it hypnotized you, it stole your willpower. That's why if you use ChatGPT or any other AI that acts as if it is a thinking machine, it makes your brain start to devolve. And that's a fact. MIT and other universities have already proven this. But does that stop it? Then why doesn't it stop? Because technology and science is a religion of demons. And you can't stop the demons because the demons will dance you to death, and they'll even dance the scientists to death. So we are in but here's the deal. What's the antidote to mechanical occultism, or what we call artificial intelligence, or what I call the machine wars? To develop a Christian cosmology that shows the true place of Christ in the cosmos, in the development of our earth, and in our own personal development. Once that is understood, you then have hosts of angels, archangels, archai, time beings, all kinds of beings. I could go on and on and on. All the hosts of the saints and all the great beings from the past who see the reality want you to bring these forces through your thinking, feeling, and willing. Now, most people get caught up with the thinking, can't go beyond because they have too much doubt. They get caught up in their feeling because they have fear. And they get caught up in their will because we have been trained through the chaos and the crazy making behavior they've given us to hate our politicians, to hate Zelensky, to hate Ukraine, to hate Putin, to hate all these people. That doesn't do any good. That works for the dark side. So you have to remember, that's how they get you with your willpower, is you just cluster with the people that you think have the truth. Like this person I'm talking about, one of the biggest people out there in terms of followers, and yet he never goes anywhere. It's a spin zone. Now there are people who are leading you directly in the opposite direction, and you have to have discernment. The number one gift of the Spirit right now is discernment. Otherwise, you might be loving evil and empowering it, and we do. How do you get over it and use your devices? Pray over them. Keep them away from you as often as possible. Go for days, fast. You got to start fasting. Get away from this stuff. Tyler and I haven't watched a TV show in, a decade? And that was probably just at Trump when he first came out. We thought that was pretty funny and interesting. Don't watch TV. It is programming you. Movies, they're the worst. Don't let your children be on these devices.
Well, wait a minute. We watch an hour of television through the internet and streaming. I mean, it's not like TV. So I don't want people to think that we're out here not in touch with anything.
Oh, we're in touch with everything.
We've watched every British film out there.
Because why? That's the caste system. Yeah. And it's the women, the ones we love to watch have beautiful dresses, and there's lovely balls and music and giant houses. And the issue is what? In every single one of them.
It's money. Mama.
The caste system, money. Yes. It is the
Who's going to pick the cotton, basically? Exactly. And it's always going to be that way because there always has to be a slave class, because eventually when wealth begins to accumulate, you don't want to do the dirty work. So you have to have a system that picks out the workers. And that's what happens. Either you define it like the Indias, dot not feathers, do, or it just falls into place. And People are going to be made now very, very poor with this system. And when you talk about universal basic income, I just have to state for the record, this really is such a ludicrous idea. Ludicrous. Because if everybody gets the basic same income, well, then everybody has the same denominator, right? So what they have afterwards is equal. So if everyone has the same, and that's the base, like a landlord could say, okay, well, then I know you get this, so the base amount, so I'll charge you $1,000 for rent, knowing maybe you get $1,000. So this system doesn't work. You see it at the universities and colleges where government offers Pell Grants and the SLS and plus loans and all these loans. So now the university knows that you, the student, have this buying power, so to speak, so they're going to extract as much as they can from you. They're going to put you so in debt before you even know you want to buy a house. It's all a plan. But they do it because each generation is put to sleep. So the next generation doesn't have the wisdom to pass this knowledge to the next and the next. Whereas the elites, the first thing they do is grab an institution. Why is Harvard was founded before our Constitution? That's because the British had to get the institution in place that would carry their evil agenda through the centuries. And thank goodness Trump has curtailed the government with any further expenses or revenue to Harvard. But this is what these evil institutions are used for. But yet as simple humans, we only live our lifetimes from birth to death. And if we're lucky, maybe we read some good history books if they're not polluted by the Pilgrim Society. I don't know. I could go on and on. How was your bath?
Don't become a digital slave.
Right.
Use it like we do. We created 42 books, put them into the mouth of the demon, and now the demon is spitting out information that's in those books. The reason the data centers is one reason, period. Large language models. I told you this from the beginning. Any AI is limited by the data it can hold that it can then access, and then it's the speed of the computer, so then they have to have gigantic computer power to be able to access the large language model. But so what? Now we got Grok, and we got the AIs reading Steiner, folks. We got them listening to our 2,000 videos, and we've stuffed it down the mouth, and now Armand is going to be spitting it out.
Like, I took the manuscript of The Hidden Hand and threw it into Grok early on and said, okay, these facts cannot be disputed. Show me anything in here that can be disputed. And Grok couldn't, because Mike has got tons of links and everything that go to original documentations. I said, so this is your truth. To say otherwise is not truthful. And I know they're holding on to all the stuff that you put into Grok to erase it. Believe me, they're keeping everything. But then here comes Grok with this woke statement, this red pill statement that says that Israel is responsible for all this evil in the Middle East.
That's why they burnt the books, folks. And that's why they're going to burn the internet, because it's going to have information on it they don't want. And that's what will be part of closing it down. The other thing that will close it down is when humans say, it's too much. You made me neurotic. You've given me too many choices. You've made me psychotic. You've stole my willpower and my life. You stole my job. You stole everything, and you become just like that crazy movie. If any of you know that, I'm going to describe this movie. If you know the name of this, please tell me. It's a dystopian future where the rich are rich and the poor are out on the street just standing around with goggles on because they can choose a character to go into virtual reality, and it can be. And the main star that they did already, they did this to stars in Hollywood. They take pictures from every angle. They say, give me your fear, give me your hatred, give me your this. So every emotion on their face and action, they digitize, and then they fire that. They pay them a certain amount of money, and now they can make infinite movies with that person's real digitized self. It looks so real you can't believe it. Better than a deep fake. So the people, they don't need a drug because the drug is their visor. And they don't do anything because their thinking, feeling, and willing has been stolen. So they just stand on the street. They don't take off their visor. They'd see they're in a dystopic world. The elite, they never put on the visors. Now, one thing I need to finish, $850 million for Obama's library in Jackson Park in Chicago. Everybody hates it. It's a phallic symbol. It's disgusting. It'll never be finished. So that it will hide his records for his years as president. I told everyone this. Not one single piece of paper can be accessed from his library, which basically holds the National Archives, that's why we...
It's not a library, it's a vault.
Correct. And it looks just like a vault.
No different than the FBI vault that Peter built for his brother, James.
Yeah. So anyway, folks, there's a lot of hope. The hope is the angels, the archangels, the archi are coming down right now to help us. Take advantage of it. Don't be a digital slave. Awaken, be a free human being who can, out of freedom, choose love and get your will activated. Don't be overwhelmed by this stuff. It was supposed to happen. It isn't off course. Without evil, there's no good. And without evil there to push up against, good does not become stronger.